Hello, let us start with chapter 5, that is morphology of flowering plants. Morphology, that is the external structure. So plant will be having root, stem, leaves, flowers and fruit. Let us first of all see about the root. In case of dicot plant and in case of monocot plant. In case of dicot plant, the primary root develops from the radicle, and after that secondary and tertiary roots will develop. This is called as taproot system. For example, in case of mustard and sunflower, so root develops from the radicle. This part is called as plumule. Now in case of monocot, the primary root is short lived and roots originate from the base of the stem. So this primary root will be short lived here, and then the root develops from the base of the stem. This is called as fibrous root system. For example, wheat plant. If roots arise from other than radicle, then they are called as adventitious root. For example, grass, monstera, banyan tree. Here the root develop from the branches. So two type of root, that is taproot system and fibrous root system. Now function of the root. Functions of the root: main function, that is absorption of the water, minerals, then it anchor the plant, it store the reserve food, synthesize plant growth regulator. Regions of the root. Regions of the root, there are three regions, that is the meristematic region, region of elongation, maturation region. Then below the meristematic region there is a root cap. It is covered by a thimble like structure. Thimble means cap, small cover for protection. Above that is the meristematic region. Here the cells are small, thin walled, having dense protoplasm, and it keeps on dividing and redividing. Then comes region of elongation. The cells are elongated and enlarged and growth takes place, and it increases in the length. Then maturation region, the cells differentiate and matures. Here the epidermal, from the epidermal cell root hair will develop. So from the maturation region root hair develops. So there are three regions, that is the meristematic region, region of elongation and maturation region, and below it it is having a root cap for protection. Then comes modification of the root. Perform functions other than the main function to carry out special function. So the modification of the roots are, first one is to store the food. So to store the food, taproot in case of taproot, and in case of adventitious root. In case of taproot, examples are carrot and beet and turnip. In case of carrot, it is called as conical root. In case of beet and turnip, it is called as napiform root in case of beet. Then example of adventitious root is sweet potato. Here it is called as tuberous root. Then comes prop root. Prop root in case of banyan tree, for support, for additional support, prop root will develop, which are pillar like. Then comes stilt root. Stilt root example are maize and sugarcane. So from the lower nodes the root develops and it grows obliquely. They are called as stilt root. Then pneumatophores in case of rhizophora. Common name is mangrove, for oxygen, for respiration. So these plants are found in saline soil. So the root will come out. They are negatively geotropic. They are also called as breathing root. Then let us see about the stem. The stem, from the radicle the root system will develop, and from the plumule the shoot system will develop. Let us see the different parts of the stem. So stem, this one is the stem. It will be having a branch. Then leaves are developed from the nodes. These are called as nodes. So this part between the two node, it is called as internode. This is the flower. Then axillary bud develops in the axil of the leaf, and terminal bud, that is at the tip. So the parts of the stem are terminal bud, axillary bud, node, internode, branch, flower, leaf, petiole. This part is called as petiole. So two system, that is root system and shoot system, develop from radicle and plumule. Main functions of the stem are to spread out branches, leaves, flowers and fruits, conduct water and mineral, and to carry out photosynthesis. Other functions like store food, support, protection, vegetative propagation. Now let us see this one by one. So modification of the stem to store food. Underground stem, example potato, ginger, turmeric, zaminkan, colocasia. So in case of ginger and turmeric, it is called as rhizome. In case of potato, it is called as tuber. Zaminkan, that is suran. It is a condensed form of rhizome. So here the In case of potato, they are called as tuber, and this dot like structure they are called as eyes of the potato, that is for vegetative propagation. Then comes for climbing, tendrils. From axillary birds, tendril will develop which are slender and spirally coiled. For example, in cucumber, pumpkin, watermelon, grapevine and passion flower, such tendril will develop for climbing. So here this one is the passion flower leaf and this one is the tendril for climbing. Then comes thorns for protection. In case of citrus, bougainvillea, for protect from the grazing animals. So thorns will be developed to protect the plant from the grazing animals. Such thorns are present this way. Then for photosynthesis, the stem is green in color, flat, it becomes flat, fleshy, for example in case of opuntia, and cylindrical in case of euphorbia. They are called as phylloclade. So in case of opuntia, the stem becomes flat and the leaves are converted into the spines. So this one is euphorbia, where it becomes cylindrical. Then for vegetative propagation, thin long branches develop, runs parallel to the ground. From the nodes new plant will develop. So for example, in case of grass it is called as runner. So like this the branches run on the soil and from the nodes new plant will develop. In case of strawberry, mint, jasmine, lateral branches arise from the base and grows obliquely like an arch and goes inside the soil. They are called as stolon here in this case. So like this lateral branch will develop and it grows obliquely and like an arch and goes inside and it will give rise to a new plant. So these are called as stolon. Then in case of pistia and iconia, thick short horizontal branches develop. Such thick short horizontal branches will develop and each node have rosette of the leaves. These are called as rosette of the leaves, and tuft of roots. These are called as offset. So thick such branches are called as offset. Then in case of banana, pineapple, chrysanthemum, lateral branches from the base and underground part of main stem grows horizontally in the soil and then comes out obliquely and give rise to a new shoot. So this in this case, in case of banana, such branches will comes out and it will give rise to a new plant. Then the leaf. So leaf, it is flat, green, carries out photosynthesis, develop at the node and have bud in its axil. Axillary bud develops into the branch. So this one is the leaf. This is called as a base with which it gets attached to the stem. This is called as petiole. It holds the blade to the stem. It is light and it flutters in the wind. These outgrowths are called as stipules. This one is called as lamina or the blade. This is called as midrib. These are veins and these are smaller one are called as veinlets. Function is to give rigidity and transport water, mineral and food. Lamina is the expanded part. So here in this case, this one is the lamina, this is the petiole, this is the base, and stipules also you can see. These are the stipules here, outgrowth. They are called as stipules. Then venation. Two type of venation, reticulate venation and parallel venation. Reticulate venation is like network. For example, in dicot stem. So this one is the reticulate venation here. While parallel veins parallel to each other. Example, monocot here in this case. These are the parallel venation. So you can see the difference, parallel and reticulate. Then comes types of leaves, simple and compound leaf. So simple lamina is entire and the bud is in the axil of the petiole here. This one is simple leaf and this incision do not reach up to the midrib. So this one is simple leaf. So this incision do not reach up to the midrib. While in case of compound leaves, incision of the lamina reach up to the midrib and break it into the small leaflet here. So the incision reach up to the midrib and it breaks down into the small leaflet, and the bud is in the axil of the petiole but not in the axil of the leaflet. So here you can see the bud, this one. bud is present in the axil of the petiole and not in the axil of the leaflets. This you have to remember. Then two types of leaves, that is pinnately compound and palmately compound. Pinnately compound leaves leaflets on the common axis. Example neem. Here this pinnately compound. These are pinnately compound on the common axis. This one is also pinnately compound in case of gulmar. Then palmately compound. Leaves are present, leaflets are present at the tip of the petiole. Example is having common point. Example is silk cotton. In this case, leaflets are on the tip of the petiole, common point. Then phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is the arrangement of the leaves on the stem or the branch. Types are alternate, opposite and whorl. Alternate, that is the single leaf at each node. Example China rose, mustard and flower. Here alternate, they are alternately present. Only single leaf at a node. While pair of leaves in case of calotropis and guava, they are called as opposite. Here pair of leaves are present. Then whorl. More than two leaves arise at each node forms a whorl. Example Elstonia subtaperni. So if more than two leaves arise, then they are called as whorl. Then modification of the leaves. Tendrils. In case of pea, the small leaflets get modified into the tendril for support. Then spines in case of cactus for protection. So stem become flat leaf-like green in color and leaves are converted into the spine for protection. Then to store the food in case of onion and garlic. So here the leaves will store the food and the stem is this shape, flat. Then phylloid, petioles. In this case, petioles expand and become green and to carry out photosynthesis. Leaves are small and short-lived. For example, Australian acacia. So in case of Australian acacia, the small leaflets will fall down. So this is the petiole. So petiole will become flat and green in color to carry out photosynthesis. Thank you.